Today's video we'll be talking about Flick of the Switch by AC/DC. The album was released on August 15th, 1983. It is celebrating its 40th anniversary. This is one of those underrated albums. It often gets foreshadowed because AC/DC went through a lot of changes in the few years before this. In 1979, they released one of their best albums ever, Highway to Hell. But then Bon Scott dies and he's replaced by Brian Johnson. They released Back in Black, and that's probably the best-selling rock album of all time. That album is a masterpiece and still holds up today. Then they released For Those About to Rock, We Salute You, another great follow-up album. But I think people like to focus so much on the two albums I just mentioned, so they tend to overlook this one. So, celebration of 40 years, let's talk about Flick of the Switch.
So check it out. Here's the drawing I did for the thumbnail. I actually did this about almost 3 years ago. I did a review of Flick of the Switch when my channel was very new. This was right before their other album came out, which was a Power Up. And I did it quick. It's not like on great quality paper, just a notebook. But I thought it was fun. So here's the picture.
So this is their 9th studio album, and the album was produced by the band themselves. It had a raw and stripped-down sound compared to their previous albums. The album features some of the band's most powerful and energetic songs, such as Flick of the Switch, Nervous Shakedown, Rising Power, and Badlands. The album cover shows a drawing of Angus Young, the lead guitarist of the band, flicking a large switch that sparks electricity. It also has the song Bedlam in Belgium. There's a story behind that song. Stick around until the end, and I'll tell you about the events in the song's lyrics. So the album was not as successful as the previous albums, Back in Black and For Those About to Rock. It marked the beginning of the band's decline, but some fans and critics have praised the albums for its simplicity and authenticity. It has gained a cult following over the years, and it's considered to be one of the most underrated albums by AC/DC, and it showcases their pure rock and roll spirit. So let me talk about the members of AC/DC at that time. We have Brian Johnson on lead vocals, Angus Young on lead guitar, Malcolm Young on rhythm guitar and backing vocals, Cliff Williams on bass guitar and backing vocals, and Phil Rudd on drums and percussion. This was the last album to feature Phil Rudd as a drummer until his return, and he was actually fired from the band due to personal and professional conflicts. He was replaced by Simon Wright, who played on the following albums, which would be Fly on the Wall, Who Made Who, and Blow Up Your Video. So let me go through the songs now. For those of you who watch my videos, you know I like to play short clips of songs, but this band seems to be very picky when it comes to copyright and blocking, so I'm not going to be playing any song clips in this video. So opening track, Rising Power. It's a pretty good song. Starts off the album. It's fairly slow, but it has some really good riffs, and lyrically typical of AC/DC with lots of those innuendos. This House is on Fire is another pretty cool song. The guitar riffs have a slightly distorted tones, and they use these open chords to give the song a bigger sound. The song is catchy because the chorus is repetitive, and that makes it memorable. Flick of the Switch is one of my favorites from the album. I really like the main guitar riff played by Angus Young. It has the power chords followed by the riff on the tail end. The song also has a very catchy chorus. You will be singing along to it after you hear it. Nervous Shakedown is another good song. I like the main guitar riff on this one as well. It has this cool descending sound that Angus makes on his guitar. The song is not very complex. It's AC/DC doing what they do best with a big chorus, includes the gang vocals. Probably my second favorite song on the album. Landslide is an underrated song, one of their faster paced songs. The song is very energetic and has some great drum work by Phil Rudd. Guns for Hire is a pretty cool song. It's called Guns for Hire, and the main guitar riff sounds like Angus is firing off some rounds. So one of those AC/DC songs that depict the outlaw bravado that they like to write songs about. This can be compared to a song like Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. It's a fun song with a big chorus. Deep in the Hole is a straightforward rocker with the thick bass guitar sound played by Cliff Williams. The song is a big chorus and is very memorable. Bedlam in Belgium has a story behind it. I will get into it in a minute. The song's another rocker, has a big guitar chords, and the band is known for that. Pretty straightforward drum beat. Badlands is a cool song. The intro kind of reminds me of George Thorogood's Bad to the Bone. Has that, I guess, southern blues type of sound. This is another cool outlaw bravado type of song, and the guitar sounds very good in this one. Final song is Brain Shake. This one has a very old school type of sound. Reminded me of the songs from the early to mid 70s. Just a straightforward rock and roll song with a lot of energy. And the guitar riffs are pretty cool as well. So, as I was saying, let's get into the story behind Bedlam in Belgium. So, this song it tells the story of a chaotic concert in Belgium where the police tried to stop the show. The band refused to quit. The song was released on this album and written by Angus Young, Malcolm Young, and Brian Johnson. So, here are the lyrics that describe the scene. There was a cop with a gun who was running around insane, 350 arrest, no bulletproof vest. Now that ain't a shame. We wanted to play for the crowd. Law said no way, cause you're on your way out. He gave me a crack in the back with his gun, hurt me so bad, I could feel the blood run. Bedlam in Belgium, came for a good time and left on the run. So the concert that inspired that song took place on October 15th, 1979, at the Dancing Fair Braunhof in Kontak, Belgium. So the show was organized by a motorcycle gang called the Outlaws, who had been providing security for AC/DC during their European tour. The venue was not suitable for a rock concert as it was a small hall with wooden beer crates as the stage. The band was relatively unknown at the time, but they had a loyal fan base of bikers and rockers who came to see them. The concert started at night, and soon the loud music attracted the attention of the local police, who received complaints from the neighbors. 2 officers arrived at the scene and tried to enter the hall, but they were met with resistance from the crowd. One of them managed to reach the stage and asked the band to stop playing, but they ignored him and continued to rock on. The officer then pulled his gun and pointed it at Angus Young, and he was wearing his trademark schoolboy uniform. Young did not flinch and kept playing his guitar. While the officer hit him on the back with his gun, the crowd went wild and started throwing bottles and cans at the police, who called for backup. The situation escalated into a riot as more police arrived and clashed with their fans. The band finally stopped playing, and after about, a few minutes, they tried to escape through the back door. They were chased by the police, who fired shots in the air. The band managed to get away in their van, but they left behind their equipment and some personal belongings. The police arrested someone from the audience who were later released, and they were later released without charges. So the concert became a legend among AC/DC fans and rock historians. It showed the band's rebellious spirit and dedication to their music. So the band later wrote Bedlam in Belgium as a tribute to their Belgian fans who stood by them during the ordeal. The song is one of the most underrated songs by AC/DC, and it captures their raw and energetic sound. So that's all. Let me know what you think about this album. I know some people think it's a hidden gem in their discography. I did a review of this album about 2 years ago. This was when my channel was still new, right before they released Power Up. I'll link it right here if anyone's interested. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.